Wire live stage here at New York City Comic Con 2018. Everybody out there doing good? Having a good Saturday? All right. We still got some energy going. That's good. My name's Adam Swiderski from Sci-Fi Wire, and I am joined today on stage by some of the cast and the creative team behind The Passage. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Yeah. Big fan of the book myself, so I'm really excited to see this series that's coming out. Why don't you guys go around the horn and introduce yourselves? That was a good moment. We should have captured that as like a boomerang or something. Everyone reaching for the microphones at once.
I'm Brianne Howie. I play Shauna Babcock.
Mark Paul Gosselaar. I play Brad Wolgast.
Emmanuel Shrieky, and I play Lila Wolgast.
I'm Vincent Piazza. I play Clark Richards.
All right.
My name's Liz Heldens. I created this show.
I'm Justin Cronin, and I wrote the books.
Yeah. Well, welcome, everyone. So, we know some stuff about The Passage as a series. We know this is a take on vampires. There's a chase, there's a child who might be the future of humanity, the savior of humanity. Tell us, I guess, a little bit about, I mean, vampires is something that has been explored a lot. What is it about The Passage that's gonna be different, that's gonna grab people's attention when it comes to that mythology?
Well, The Passage is a big character-driven, big like epic drama that focuses on scientists who are experimenting with a very dangerous virus that could be the cure to all disease or could result in the downfall of humanity. So our vampires are lab-generated.
What I'd say is when I started this project, what I wanted to do is I wanted to have the real vampires. The assumption was that the vampire mythology that exists in so many cultures, like a lot of myths, would have some reality in the background, some human reality. And a scientist goes looking for the virus that he thinks is the source of all that storytelling. In particular, the vampire as we know it, which is basically an Eastern European folktale. So this is about the real vampires, where that myth comes from. And it's a viral pathogen that produces symptoms that over hundreds of years and millennia has become the basis for the mythology of a magical creature. The creatures in The Passage are not magical. They are real flesh and blood. They are people infected with virus.
Well, they have some powers.
Yeah, but it's not magic.
Well, they can get in your dreams.
Yeah,
they're
sure.
psychic.
But it's all science. Science can do all of those things. So for you guys in the cast, what was it like approaching this project with that in mind? That this is kind of a classic trope that you're doing a new take on?
I don't know. I could just sit here all day and listen to them talk about, especially about him and about the book, and Liz about the show. I came on board as a fan. I mean, when I read Liz's script first, and then wanted to know more. So then I read all three of Justin's books as fast as I could, and fell in love with the story and the characters and just everything about it. So I'm a huge fan of The Passage and the trilogy.
It's exciting because the books are so beloved. So then as actors getting to approach it is really exciting because we know, yeah, they're really wonderful.
Yeah. And Brianne, for you in particular, you know, we see some pretty gruesome shots in the trailer.
A little bit.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's just her in the morning.
Yeah.
I just woke up.
It was all jam.
Yeah.
On the mouth, but
Peanut butter and jelly.
I guess what's the experience like for you getting to play one of these, I guess, patients who's undergoing this process?
Yeah, it's fun. Honestly, it's really wonderful. And the hair and the makeup and the wardrobe and the set kind of all take you there. You really feel like you're just kind of dropped in. And then you work with all of your surroundings. But I love these characters so much. I especially love Shauna Babcock. And I'm excited for everyone to see it.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about I mean, again, what we have to go on right now is the trailer that shows Wolgast and Amy on the run. How focused is the show on that relationship versus more of an ensemble feel, would you guys say?
Well, the show is for sure an ensemble, but I think the beating heart of the book and the beating heart of our show is the relationship between Brad and Amy. It really is the way I connected to the book, and I think it'll be the way in for people watching the show.
And what was that relationship like for you, developing that relationship?
Yeah, for me, reading the script, I really gravitated towards that story. I have a young daughter as well who's roughly about the same age as Amy. And so that sort of pulled on some strings, personal strings of mine, so I can draw from. But yeah, I mean, we're sort of in the middle of our season of filming, and it really does. It is a true ensemble. I mean, we all have equally big shares of the stories coming forward. So it's. I think the fans are going to be really surprised at how Liz has taken the book and opened up these characters that are so beloved.
And that's actually an interesting thing when it comes to translating the book to TV. The book is pretty far-ranging. You know, it's a global story, story with global implications. How is it balancing that with the more personal, character-driven stuff?
Well, I mean, I think what's so great about Justin's books is that they are super, super character-driven and super. You're just with all the characters in the book for sure. So I think that's why I was so happy to get to do it, was because when you read his books, it's a big epic story for sure. It's like, I mean, it goes for centuries. It's crazy big, but you really just connect to the characters, and they all have such like distinct and wonderful voices. So I feel really lucky that we got to do it.
Well, I was just going to say, even the end of the world is personal, right? It happens to you, and it happens to the people in these books and in the television show. I mean, they're responsible for and caught up in enormous events, but they're just people with relationships. And I mean, these books were written by a dad with a young daughter. That's who I was when I started writing these. And when I thought about writing a book about the end of the world, and I thought about all the other stories that I grew up on, of apocalypse, of Armageddon, I realized that the ones that mattered the most were always the ones that were actually about what's worth saving, what's savable about us. And the Wolgast-Amy relationship, among other relationships in this story, both in the novel and in the television show, that's what's worth saving. That's the glue, and that's where the story really resides.
Cool. So for the cast members, which of you would best survive in a vampire apocalypse? And who would you want on your team on this couch right now?
I'd pick a side pretty quickly, I could tell you that.
Vampire or human?
I wouldn't wear turtlenecks.
There you go. Anybody else?
Well, I am the vampire, so I think I'd be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on the winning side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's home.
I can run fast.
I'd want Mark Paul on my team.
I can shoot a gun.
There you go.
That's about it.
That's
so
all you need.
After I get winded and I run out of bullets, I'm dead.
Yeah. Were there any surprises when it came to the production of the show that, in terms of the direction of the story, or for your characters in particular, that really were things that you were able to sink your teeth into as something to develop?
You know, I want to jump in because it comes back to your original question. I've never read scripts that unfold the way this unfolds while dealing with something like a vampire or a viral. It's dealt with in a way that I've never encountered before, whether in literature or on screen. So the point of view of it is, it's just refreshing week after week to open a new script and discover what these characters are doing, how they're dealing with it now. It's so much fun in that respect. And I don't know if that answers your most recent question,
Sure.
but it certainly goes back to the first one.
Yeah.
Because you got me thinking about it. I'm a slow burn. In a half hour, I'll answer your next question.
That's good. Come back. We'll have
Yeah.
you back on stage.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
pop up and.
Yeah, I know. I'll text you.
That's good. How shades of gray do things get in particular? Because I know, we're set up particularly with Vincent in the trailer as something of an antagonist to Mark Paul's character, and
Yeah, and
You know,
even
so
that.
how great does that get? Is that something that you guys embraced in the scripts, that finding the places where even the antagonistic relationships have rationale behind them and everything?
Absolutely. Everyone has a point of view, and every character has dimension and angles and priorities and things they want to save, things they care about deeply. And the moral ambiguity comes into play based on what they do for a living a lot of times. So, you know, it's an incredibly complex story without being complicated, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, just to interject, it's so easy to call it a vampire or like a genre television show. It is so character driven. It's got so much heart. It's a real drama. It's really about humanity and surviving. And so it's all of those things. I think it's more than a genre in a really big way.
It's really grounded in reality. I think that's the most surprising part about reading the scripts, is that it sounds like this outlandish plot, but it isn't. Every character's motivation is so genuine and sincere and dire, and the stakes are high for everybody. And everyone's, their moral compass, it looks a little different for everybody, and that's kind of fun.
But I felt that way reading Justin's book. I mean, you don't read it and go, oh, this is a genre.
Right.
You read it and go, I really like these characters, and oh yeah, there's these virals, these sort of, you know, vampire-like things, and I think we've done a really good job of adapting that on screen, but wouldn't call it a genre. It's like a character-driven genre in a way, much like the books.
Very cool. Are we going to get to see things go as far as they do in the books? How faithful an adaptation are we looking at of the show, from book to show?
I'm sorry. What was your? What?
How faithful of an adaptation are we looking at from the first book in this season? Are things going to go as far as they do in the book?
Well, we've been framing the first season as like the good intentions and the bad decisions that lead to the end of the world as we know it, and so that seems like enough.
Yeah.
That seems like enough for 10 episodes.
Seems like plenty.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Everybody check out The Passage. Really great story. Cast and creative team of The Passage, thank you so much.
for coming out.
Please follow along with us. Hashtag NYCC, hashtag It's a Fan Thing, and stick around for Jason Aaron, who's going to be talking about Marvel's Avengers.
I'm Jackie Jennings with Sci-Fi Wire. If you can't get enough of New York Comic Con, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel for news, interviews, cosplay, and so much more. What are you waiting for?